Welcome back. Episode 39 of the Second Look Sports Show. Alex Mandarino, Brandon Brown, Justin Arenburg with you. As always, thank you for listening and tuning in. Happy Halloween if you're listening to us when we're taking this pod out. It is the 31st. I would love to cosplay as Trey Yesavage, and as I'm sure a lot of people in Toronto would probably right now. And if you're not listening from Toronto or you're living under a rock, we are 5 games into the World Series, and the Blue Jays have taken a 3-2 lead over the Los Angeles Dodgers. We haven't been recording. We haven't sent anything out since the World Series started. There's a ton of stuff to recap. And I guess I just want to get a sense of where you guys are feeling. And I'm maybe taking the bias out of it. It's going to be hard to do so. But how is this World Series compared to some in the past few years? Like, maybe what are your thoughts on how the games have played out and some of the storylines? Do you feel like this is one of the top World Series you've watched in a while? Justin, let's go to you first. How are you feeling just on how this 5-game series thus far has played out?
This Blue Jays team, when they like, it's just been this thing all season. When they look like they're out of it, they just answer the bell, get up, and deliver a knockout blow every single time. It feels like it's surprising to me how relentless this team is. Like, they simply do not want to give up. They simply just they'll beat you through either their pitching. The other thing is they'll beat you through 1 through 9. Like, it's not just like, hey, we have 1 or 2 superstars that are going to carry us. Obviously, you have Bo and Vlad, but it's a 1 through 9. Any person, any given day can step up for the Toronto Blue Jays, and I don't think a lot of the world realized that until this series. Because before this series, none of the national media even thought the Blue Jays were going to beat the Yankees, let alone the Mariners, and then they get to the World Series, and it's been the same method every single series that we watch them play. It's not just one guy who's doing it. It's 1 through 9 where they're getting offense. It's contact on the ball. It's pitching. It's great defense. It's everything. And this team just amazes me every single time. And that's not even just being biased. That's just like watching baseball and realizing this is a special team. And they really put the team, like the word team, to a great definition, a great example of the word team, because not a lot of teams are like this. Like, they're so bonded together. They're so connected on the field. It's like you can see it in the clubhouse as well. You got Max Scherzer and Trey Yesavage chatting it up on the bench or in the dugout. Like, it's just everything about this team is just continues to amaze me. And for me, I think if you look at the first 5 games of this series, I would have to think that no one in the right mind would be saying, "Oh, Toronto's up 3-2." That doesn't sound odd. Like, this is shocking. This is shocking.
I mean, yeah, you're absolutely right. I think it was a bit. It has been a bit shocking to see the Jays play as well as they have. Not because they haven't played that way all year, but because it's one of those things where I think we've looked at the Dodgers like a team that's able to beat anybody, it feels like, at any time, because we saw them win last year. They beat the Yankees, who looked really good, and it wasn't very close even. So I think going into this series, we expected kind of a similar thing, and I've just been so incredibly proud of the team, and I want to see how they continue to go, and what happens when we're working with a win or go home situation. When you're talking about winning a World Series, that's the one situation this team hasn't been in yet. We've seen them in a Game 7; they've played extremely well, but we haven't seen them in a championship winning opportunity. So it's going to be incredibly crazy to watch them play on Friday night and see what happens in Game 6. And if it goes to 7, that environment is going to be even crazier. So I'm super excited to see what's going to happen going forward, and I think it's going to be great. Great TV, great atmosphere for the fans, and I think if it goes the Blue Jays way, it's going to be a crazy night, whichever night it is. So it's yeah, it's been awesome.
Been great to it'll be great, like, because it's ending on a weekend one way or the other. The concept that the World Series is going to be handed out, the trophy itself is going to be handed out in Toronto obviously we're
Yeah.
all cheering for the Blue Jays, but the fact that it's going to be handed out in Toronto, and I think I saw a stat that it's the first time the MLB season has actually started and ended outside of the US, with the fact
Mhm.
that the global, not the global series, but the first two games were played in Japan. So that was a pretty interesting stat that, reading how global the MLB is getting, and I think this series really helps. There's a lot of storylines we can get to, and obviously we'll preview game 6 and kind of chat about maybe last night's game, at least when you're listening 2 nights ago in game 5. But I got to ask, did you guys stay up to watch the entirety of the 18 inning game 3? Or did one of you
Yeah.
guys tap out? How did that play out for you?
No, I had to stay up. I stayed up. I was also watching it somewhere else, not my house, so I had to drive
Yeah.
home. Had to drive home, get home at 3:30 in the morning, after the disappointment. Also, by the way, so I knew my stream where I was at was, like, 30 seconds behind, right? And so I put my phone on do not disturb the whole night, and I
Smart.
literally did not check my phone once. And I turned off do not disturb in the bottom of the 18th inning, literally the pitch before Freddie Freeman hits it, and I see it, like, I see, "Oh, Blue Jays lose 6-5," like,
Nice.
I'm just like, "You gotta be kidding me." That was the most brutal thing, like, just knowing, and, like, I didn't wanna tell everyone else in the room, like, I was like, "Here comes
Good
the
guy
pitch,
move.
guy." He's like, "Freddie Freeman's about to walk this thing off." Like, I couldn't ruin it for everyone else, and yeah, I even though I knew it was about to happen, I just kept my mouth shut. Anyway, yeah, it was a tiring day because then I went downtown Toronto to go into work for Sportsnet the next morning, and I had to be on a train for 8 o'clock. So yeah, it was pretty fun.
Yeah. Rough day. What about you, Brandon?
Yeah, that was an insane night. I think I've talked to Justin about this. I was watching at home, and the game's going on, and it's pretty normal night. Like eventually the game gets tied up later in the game, and I'm thinking to myself, "Wow, this could go to extra innings," and I'm like, "That's going to be awesome." And so eventually, what I'm sitting there. The game goes to extras. My girlfriend's with me. We live together, obviously, and she goes to bed. She can't stay up. She's got to work
No.
in the morning too.
Fair.
Not that I didn't. I obviously had to get up, but yeah. So the game, and we're getting to 13th inning, I think it was. Maybe 1:30 in the morning, and I'm like, at the very least, I need to get into bed because I can't just sit out here all night. And then who knows? No one knows how long this is going to go. So I start to get ready. I've got the game still on, and then I transition to my room, and I've got the phone, and I'm lying in bed. I'm trying to stay awake, and it just keeps going. And I'm like, man, at this point, like I was saying to Justin, like I'm pretty much prepared to like be up all night at this point because you
Yeah.
just have no idea what's going to happen. And obviously, I would have loved to see the Jays win, but thankfully, the game did end, and Freeman hits the home run, and I saw him turn the bases, and they all hugged him, and then I just immediately was done and turned it off and went to sleep and got a few hours, but it was just it's a once in a lifetime thing, I think, as a
Yeah.
fan. I mean, especially if we see some of those games happen. Um, every few years, it feels like. I mean, I guess if you're a Dodgers fan, it happens more often, but yeah, like there was just something that once you're in the midst of it, I don't think as a fan and as somebody who works in the industry, like I just couldn't turn away from it as much as I really wanted to physically. Like
Yeah.
I was done, but I persevered and I pushed through, and I just had to go through. So
Yeah, good. No, I feel that. I'm glad you both said that you kind of stuck it out because I was in the same boat. I had worked the Raptors game that same night. The Raptors wrapped up whatever time it was, like 10:30 or something, nine something, and there's about 2 innings left in the game. So the producer and myself stuck around, and we said we're gonna watch the game at the studio and just kind of another half an hour, and then we should be able to wrap up and go home. And as we've alluded to, it did not wrap up. So we were in the TSN studios just grinding it out. And he's like, listen, if you want to go, like, feel free. I'm like, no, at this point, it's a story. Like, we can't go. So we were there for like 3.5 extra hours just watching the game from the studio and being like, this is going to be a horrendous drive home. Like, I luckily worked the next evening for Leafs, so I did have the morning to kind of recoup. Although the energy and like the adrenaline was still pumping through my veins of trying to like debrief the
Yeah, and then
game and
you
right.
you you go to bed right afterwards, and it's like you can't
You
go to
can't.
bed because, You're coming off watching
and,
18
you're
innings, and you're like,
upset.
yeah.
So that was brutal. Now on the way home, I was funny though, listening to like Blair and Barker sort of do a post game and take callers. Like people
Yeah.
were calling into the
Oh, yeah.
show. Like I'm thinking, go to bed. Like good for
No,
those
everyone's
guys, right? You
fired
guys are
up.
both Sportsnet, and that's awesome. But I'm like, man, it's 3 a.m. Like it like you, Brandon. Like immediately we left. Like it wasn't like we're like, oh, let's watch some post game and see Schneider's thoughts on his decisions to take out Kirk and blah blah. No, it's like turn the TV off. Let's go to bed. So I'm surprised people stuck around to share their thoughts, but that just showcases the passion of the fan base and why Toronto is a great sports market to at least be a fan of.
Listen, this is a series that we are going to remember for a very long time, and
Yeah.
I would argue, um, though, in terms of what I can remember in terms of what is a great last World Series, um, I thought the Nationals versus the Astros in 2019 was a good World Series. That went 7 games as well. You had the Cubs and you had, at the time, the Indians in 2016. I thought that was a really good World Series. Listen, so those are the 2 World Series that come to mind, but honestly, this World Series, even though it might not go 7 games, we don't know yet, it might be better just because you have an 18-inning game in there. You have the dominance of game 1. You have the complete game of Yamamoto in game
Yeah.
2, throwing back-to-back complete game shutouts. Like, it was ridiculous. And then you have game 4, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. hits a homer off Shohei Ohtani, the greatest player of all time. And then game 5 last night was an absolute masterclass, arguably the best pitching performance in Blue Jays history by Trey Yesavage. Just what he did on that situation, or in that situation on the road in Dodger Stadium, making his first road playoff
Mhm.
debut start, or sorry, making his first playoff start on the road. Listen, the guy was in rookie ball to start the season. He's now probably he's probably the Blue Jays' best pitcher to end the year.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy to think about that when you say that, but like, it might be true. Like, every single game has had a remarkable player stand out above everyone else. And I didn't even mention Shohei Ohtani in game 3, who got on base 9 out of 9 times, but 4 out of 4 on the first 4 in terms of he actually saw the baseball. Like, Shohei was absolutely a robot in that
Yeah.
game 3. Like, it was ridiculous. So yeah, this World Series, I know you asked it off the top, like, where does it rank amongst others? Like, it's up there for one of the best that I've seen in a very long time, and that's not just trying to be biased. I said there's a couple others that I think about that, but yes, this one is just up there with all of them right now.
I
Yeah.
think I just yes, I just quickly, Brandon. The one thing I'm thinking is like when you're talking about that, Justin, and think to be unbiased is probably easy because the amount of like records broken in this World Series, it feels like every night there's multiple. Like the
Mhm.
first team to do back to back hits to lead off a game, and then like Yamamoto like back to back complete innings, retire 20 in a row. Like the first guy to go get on base 9 times, and Shohei and Gabe, like the amount of, especially when you looked into the series and the amount of analysts and people thinking Dodgers and 4, Dodgers and 4, Dodgers and 4. And you have to admit, like, I know the Blue Jays, it was David versus Goliath. That was actually the storyline going in. And yet here we
Yeah.
are, regardless of 3-2, there's just the amount of records broken. Like that
Yep.
just, I think on its own suggests it's an unbelievable series to watch from a fan of any team outside of the two representing their cities right now.
Yep.
Yeah, and I think that's a huge part of it is that this series has been closer than people thought, and I think
Mm-hmm.
there's been interesting, obviously with the records and everything, but there's been good offense, there's been good pitching. It's had a bit of everything, and there's been a ton of theatrics and dramatics. So it's like
Yep.
it's bringing all these people in, whether it's more casual fans of the sport or up here in Canada,
Mm-hmm.
obviously a ton of
Mm-hmm.
people are jumping on top of the Blue Jays bandwagon, which is great. And in the States, I think that's kind of being matched. You're seeing a lot of people come out with support of the Dodgers as well. And I don't know if was the same maybe last year probably was because it is the Yankees and it was the Dodgers. And I remember there was a lot of hype around that series, but it was kind of it was expected that the Dodgers would take it. I think I think that was probably a series that was expected to be closer than what people were saying about the Jays, which is funny to think now. But yeah, like the Dodgers, they looked like they were the best team in baseball last year, and they proved that to be true. This year, I think it was a little bit more wide open, and nobody would have said, at the beginning of the season, whether it was the Jays or the Dodgers in the World Series, nobody would have been going there. So I think it's awesome that that's what's led to this kind of incredible hype around this series, and it's brought
Mhm.
so many people to it, and the sport, the MLB in general must be so happy that they a series that they maybe didn't want. I don't know if that's what they would want in the States and head in HQ, what they thought was going to maybe make them the most money, but for it to turn out this way, and I think it's been something great for the MLB to showcase, and it's been great obviously for the Jays now with the lead, but the Dodgers, they're not out of it either, and they're going to come back, and if they are able to do something great as well in terms of coming back from a 3-2
Yeah.
deficit, they're going to be looked at as one of the great teams of all time, I'm sure, going home after that. So,
N
Yeah.
No, I like to go off your, like, growing the game and everything like that, like, I saw a TV stat that I thought was, like, crazy. The US had I think it was game 3 or game 4, I can't remember which game it was. Um, the US had averaged 12.6 million viewers, Canada had averaged 7.1 million viewers, and then Japan had averaged 10.7 million viewers or something like that. Like, there is, like, the whole you can basically say the whole country of Canada, or just, sorry, that's terrible math right there. 30 million is not 40 million.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's about a third or a fourth.
yeah,
But the point is, yeah, I get it.
3/4 of Canada is watching the World Series. Like, it's crazy to think that it's getting this much of a global impact in terms of, people in Japan, people in the US. I'm sure that the game 6 numbers in the US are gonna go up because I think everyone outside of LA
Yeah.
wants the Dodgers to lose, and I think that they're gonna be happy to watch them lose because they don't wanna see this team win. They're gonna ruin baseball is what everyone was talking about. So, yeah, like this game just keeps on growing internationally, a large part because of the Japanese talent that is over there.
Mm.
That is just they're superstars, man. They're superstars. Yamamoto is an absolute superstar. Um, yeah, so this series just keeps on impressing. This team, both teams keep on going back and forth. It's really fun to watch. But yeah, like I this you're at a loss for words with what's happening right now, considering I don't think anyone was like you had to have hope if we're like being honest because we're Toronto guys, but like if you would have told me they're up 3-2 coming home, like I wouldn't have believed you. I thought it was going to be 3-2 for the Dodgers coming home, to be completely honest with you, when they
Mm.
went to LA tied 1-1. That's where I thought we were going to be. And
Yeah.
now we're one win away from seeing the Toronto Blue Jays win the World Series. That
Yeah,
is
at home
ridiculous to
too.
say.
It's
Ridiculous.
nuts. I think we can probably look at recency bias in terms of like where we go next. You alluded to it already, Justin, with Trey Yesavage, and like all of the stats and everything have been broken down the past 24 hours, or I guess less, because really it's been less than 24 hours. But since the game ended last night, in LA, 12 strikeouts, most by a rookie in the World Series, 3 runs or 3 hits, 1 earned run, 7 innings, like outduels Blake Snell, who's been here before and who was obviously dominant in the sport for a long time. And just like it's crazy to think, but yeah, like if you think about it now, obviously, again, recency bias, but the way that it's been played out and obviously how the pitching duel has gone, Savage got game 1 and therefore he gets game 5. Obviously, he's not going to get game 6 tomorrow. It's likely, if not already decided, going to be Kevin Gausman. But I think if you had it your way, like, and all rest aside, and if like it wasn't a factor, you had all guys ready to rock. Like, I think you're going to Savage if you had to in game 7 if it gets to that point, and he might be available. Like, you never know out of the pen. I mean, I think he
Yeah,
said
out of
he
the
was like, "I'll be
pen.
ready." So obviously not starting. That'd be crazy. Mind you,
No,
he is
but
22, but you need to save him
ca
for the
can
right
we just go
moment.
back
But
to one thing for a
insane.
second because we're talking about rests and everything like this?
Hmm.
Yamamoto was gonna throw game 3. That is
He was
absolutely
out there.
insane.
Yeah.
Insane. He like Roberts, that's the next guy Roberts was going to was Yamamoto, who literally 2 days before threw 105 pitches in a complete game shutout. Like that is
Yeah.
ridiculous.
It was
Ridiculous.
interesting though, because he was out there, but then there was like he was like, I think there was reports that he told the Roberts like, nah, he wasn't good.
He
Like he
couldn't
was,
it seemed like the relay
yeah,
was he couldn't go, and then they
yeah,
said and then he sat down, and then he got back up and started throwing again and said, "Yeah, I'm gonna go."
Yeah,
That
but
was the report.
he also said, I think on the Fox broadcast, that he was going to put in a position
I
player
know.
at some point, and he
Yeah.
didn't do that either. So obviously
Oh, yeah,
if
he was
Yamamoto's
lying
up,
100% out of his teeth
yeah.
when he said, "Yeah, next inning, guys, I think I'm gonna put my position player out on the mound and just try to win her that way." Like, yeah,
But
come on.
he might have had to do that though if was it Will Klein, I think, didn't
Yeah,
come out and do so well. Like he gave them a chance to win that game, and I absolutely think while Freddie Freeman hit that incredible home run, Klein was the guy for me that
Oh, yeah.
gave them the
Yeah.
win in realistic. You know, when you look at it realistically, I think.
yeah,
Um, yeah, Roberts is a tough one to figure out, but Yamamoto, like he's been unbelievable too. Like he does it in a different way, obviously, but he's just fantastic. Like you see him out there smiling on the mound, he's having a great time. Obviously, like he's he's done this not very long in the MLB, but he's been a champion. He's been a great pitcher for his entire career. So it's one of those things where um, it's going to be really hard for the Jays to beat him. But in terms of
Yeah.
the Savage point, I think it's almost like the Jays dropped like Paul Skeens into their lineup at the end of September, in September, and we're just like, great, now we've got like a Paul Skeens level. Like, and I'm not saying that Savage is going to be a Paul Skeens level pitcher going forward. I don't expect him to
Yeah.
be the opening day starter next year and to be a Cy Young, winner pretty much. Like, I think you're going to see Savage be great and be a really important piece for the Jays for a while to come still. But it's incredible the type of run that he's gotten on and the confidence that he seems to show. He seems like he's on like if he had more time to continue to pitch, I can't see him slowing down at all right now. So if he's able to come through and be that kind of guy for the Jays going forward, like you're talking about, you're more opportunities to get back to the playoffs and in a time where people were kind of concerned about what the Jays might look like next year, especially on the pitching side. You don't really have to be too worried when you know you've got a guy like Yesavage, Kevin Gosman's going to be there. You figure it out from there, and it's like, okay, great. Like it still makes them a real contender in the American League, and it's going to help if they win a World Series. What does that mean for Bo Bichette? What does that mean for the rest of the guys
yeah,
who are free agents? Maybe they do want to stick around, and forego a little bit of money, or maybe the Jays will pay up because they're already a top 5 payroll team, right? So what? It seems like they're checking every box at this point. So I'm so excited to see. Hopefully they can get it done, and then just the future for this team looks a lot better than it was going into last offseason where they were last in the division and nobody knew, what the future was going to hold. So it's an incredible 180, and it's almost unbelievable.
hmm
So, like, Trey Savage game 5, like, that will, like I said earlier, it's gonna be a performance that will go down in the history books as well, probably the best Blue Jays pitching performance so far in the history of the franchise. And then, to be honest with you guys, last night for me was a must win for the Blue Jays
yeah,
because you're tied 2-2, and even though you're coming back to Toronto, you have to face Yamamoto in game 6. Like, I don't think, like, if you had to come home and you're trailing 3-2 and then you got to face Yamamoto in game 6, that I think they'd lose. I really do. Like, I think that the momentum is fully on their side. I like it. I think that they have a real chance of winning now. If they would have lost game 5, I felt like game 5 was the biggest must win, even though it's technically not. It just felt like you have to win this game. You have to do anything to win this game. And Trey Savage, 12 strikeouts. It's a rookie record, and then also a rookie record for most strikeouts and then not walking anyone. Or sorry, It's not even a rookie record. It's just a World Series record of no one's ever done it of 12 strikeouts and not walk a single batter. It's ridiculous what this guy did last night. Um, Even when he looked like he lost his composure in the top of the seventh, or bottom of the seventh, he got it back. Like the I want to credit Alejandro Kirk as well because that mound visit in the bottom of the seventh was just phenomenal. Like he realized, hey, Yesavage is just he's overthrowing the pitches here a little bit. He doesn't need to do it. Your stuff is elite right now. Get it into the box. What does he do? He goes out and talks to him, just gives him that extra bit of confidence, and Savage just goes out and starts dealing again, gets the ground ball, and they go around the horn to turn two. It was ridiculous. Like it was so incredible to watch the whole game. Even when Kike Hernandez hits the home run, you just didn't feel like any panic. Like you didn't feel like, oh, he's gonna slip up and lose it here now, and he's just gonna start giving up hits. Like it felt like the moment wasn't too big for him. It felt like he was the moment, if that makes sense. It was just a
Totally.
remarkable performance.
Yeah, and it's just crazy to think that that is like his best performance, and yet I think like outside of um I can't recall. He pitched twice against the Mariners in the CS, but like there's the one game he kind of faltered, didn't have the greatest game. I don't recall if it was 2 or 3 or whatever it was, but like
2, I
every
think.
outing,
2.
yeah, every outing, it's like okay, like this is an unbelievable performance by this guy, and then he goes and pitches like another gem that somehow outdoes the previous performance. Like I was in the crowd when he had his first home. I mean, his first playoff appearance ever. He had 11 strikeouts, and everyone in the crowd was like, "How is this kid still going at
Yeah.
22?" So, like, and that's the whole storyline. He's rookie ball and the ascension to which he's at, the amount of poise he can have on the mound. And I think a weird but interesting, and the reason why so many people are optimistic about the World Series and the success that the Toronto Blue Jays can accomplish is a lot of the times when you look at a team, they bring in like guys at the deadline, and it's almost like, all right, like they're all pieced together perfectly, and this is the only chance a team has to win. Now the Dodgers are an exception. They're going to be perennially good, but okay, you have a team in there and they're like, oh, this guy's going to leave next year. That guy's going to leave next year. This guy's 35 years old. He's on his last leg. Yes, there are guys in the Jays that are like that. But when I'm hearing conversations about, yeah, next year, Addison Barger is going to have a real good chance of being an everyday player based on how he's playing. And, oh, Savage is 22. Like, there's still so many building blocks that make you so excited for like next year and the year after. Now, yes, granted, the World Series is not over. Like, I'm not overlooking the fact they need to win one more. But the optimism in the city is obviously the fact that they're up one and have one win away. But it's also the fact that there's still a lot of success, hopefully, to come because of some of the pieces, like, and even Ernie Clement is having a historic World Series and
Yeah.
postseason in general. Those kind of guys, like the beginning of the year, you had no hope. Now you have hope for like years to come, and not only closing it out and going, this is our last chance to win. Like there's optimism.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it's not
Like,
like a Cinderella run. It feels like this
Yeah.
team has
yeah.
a real core, and that going forward, they're going to be able to sustain it if they can stay healthy and if things continue to go their way. It's going to be incredible. But I did
I
have
don't
one
know.
last thing
I don't know about
on
that.
the Savage thing though, Justin. I think you made a really good point. Is I I I just can't believe that he was able to do that last night, and it's not
Yeah.
because like because he doesn't profile to be that kind of pitcher. Like he absolutely is a powerful guy with absolute incredible stuff and the crazy arm angle. We've heard all of that, but to see him pitch in game one and to be like he was still good and he gave them a chance to win. I think
Yeah.
they scored 2 runs off him, but
2
he only had
runs in
5
4
Ks.
innings.
He went to 4 innings. He only had 5 Ks. And last night, Freddie Freeman was talking about it after the game. It's like they couldn't believe it either. They were in the plate and they couldn't believe that he was able to locate as well as he was because game one, his command wasn't there. And
Command
while
was terrible.
he gave the Jays a good chance to win, but he wasn't the guy that we had seen in the past. And at that point, I was thinking, okay, like he's kind of settling into kind of maybe closer to what he might profile as at some point, or teams are starting to figure him out, and we might see a bit of a decline from his original numbers, which have been so great. But then to come
Mhm.
back and have that kind of confidence to go into their stadium, his first postseason road start and to be like, no, I'm not even going to match what I've done before. I'm going to do better than that. And I'm going to go out there and just absolutely shut these guys down. And I'm just going to have fun with it. And he seems like such a lighthearted guy who just wants to go out and pitch and play the game that he loves. It's so refreshing to see such a young player in a sport where it's a lot of veterans, and to see a guy kind of come in and have an opportunity first to be featured in such an important game, because it's so rare that
Mhm.
teams who have players this young are either a bringing them out in postseason situations, or typically they're not in postseason situations because they're building for the future, and they have these incredible ace level guys just waiting to kind of develop. But he's done everything he's been asked to do, and much more. I can't
Yeah.
imagine how good the organization must feel to have a guy like Yesavage ready to just bloom as his career continues to grow. So
And you mentioned about staying healthy and competing. Like, I don't even know if they need to be healthy, man. Like, George Springer goes down, Bo Bichette's on one leg, basically. This team just doesn't care. They don't care. It's next man up with this mentality. It's just like I said earlier in the show. Like, it's the most team the it's the best word of the or sorry, it's the best use of the word team that I've seen in a long time. Like, you think about what this means to all of them. Like, they're playing for each other. They don't care about the stats. Like, sure, some of them are having fantastic postseasons. I'm going to tell you about Vlad in a second, but like, it's just remarkable how they don't care. It's just next man up. You might be playing. You might have started in the Bisons. You might have been sent down to the Bisons this year, aka Addison Barger and Davis Schneider. They don't care. They don't care. Like, it's remarkable what they do. Um, and yeah, I just want to talk about Vladdy because listen, this is the franchise guy. This is the guy that you're paying $500 million to. This is the guy that said he wanted to stay and he was going to commit to this franchise for the next 14 years. This man is having one of the best postseasons in MLB history, not just Toronto Blue Jays history, MLB history. 65 at bats, 27 hits, 17 runs, 8 home runs, setting a Blue Jays franchise record in terms of most postseason home runs ever. And he's done it in one postseason. 15 RBIs, hitting 415, an OBP of 506, and an OPS of 1.337. That is
Mhm.
absolutely ridiculous what this guy is doing. It is unimaginable what he is doing. This should not be happening. This is the type of run that only guys like, I'm going to say it, Michael Jordan go on. Like, in terms of they can be that dominant in a playoff run. It is remarkable what he is doing on a nightly basis in this whole postseason, let alone the World Series.
Well, it's what you want when you pay a guy that money for 15 years. Like, this is you can't ask for anything else. There's literally nothing else. It's one side of the ball is great. He's hitting. You went through a great amount of stats there, but like the throw to get, I don't even know who it was. A
Oh,
Muncy
yeah.
who tried
True.
to leg it out
True.
at third. Like I don't recall who it was, and because there's been so much going on. There's been a lot of baseball. Like, okay, you see Jimenez try and make the throw to first. You're like, oh, that's off. Oh, wait, no, Vladdy's got an absolute cannon to third base. Quick tag, you're out of the inning. Like, what are we talking about?
That looks
And
like
we knew that
150
Vladdy,
miles an hour.
it's crazy. Like, he's got obviously all the talent in the world to hit the ball and be able to even the home run yesterday to bring the bat in and kind of make a turn on that pitch is very impressive, and it's Aaron
absolutely.
Judge like, right? So you can see that happening, but to see some of the defensive plays he's made and how smart he is to make certain decisions and just be involved in the game on both sides of the ball, like that's what you're getting when you pay this guy. And clearly he's, I don't know if he's, I mean, no, he's exceeded expectations on that contract. It's been 1 year. Now, yes,
It's not even been
it's
a year.
15
It's not even
years,
been a
but
year.
hasn't been a year. It's true. It
It
hasn't been a
hasn't
full
even
year
been a
yet.
year.
It's crazy to think now. Yes, you can worry about this. Makes up for maybe the last 5 years when in any contract you don't know how a player might continue later in their career. Already he's making up for what that even might look like down the line.
Doesn't
Like, this
matter
is
what he does.
incredible, and
Doesn't matter what he
it's
does.
fun. It's just unbelievable to watch, man. He's such a great guy. Loves the game, and you can tell.
Yeah, I think when he signed that deal, I think everyone was saying, "Well, he better bring a World Series with that kind of money." And to do if he does it year one, yeah, it's like almost everything else is gravy. But I
Yeah,
want to see, or the biggest thing I've been impressed with, honestly, is just his change over from the regular season to the postseason. Where in the regular season, everyone's saying, "Oh, Vladdy's got no power now. He's a singles hitter. He's fantastic, at the plate, but he's not the same guy that hit, 40 bombs or whatever he's done before." But to come in and have such a higher percentage of home runs in the postseason when it matters most, and not just like in the DS where he stacked up a bunch and then he's still at the top of the leaderboard. It's like, no, he's been hitting clutch home runs in every round of the playoffs,
Mhm.
and to see him now at the top of the franchise lead there, and he's going to be there for a long time, I'm sure, and he's not done at whatever it is this year, 8, I think he's got. So, um, yeah,
yeah,
we may see more this series. We should probably expect more in the rest of his career, but he's been such a treat to watch, and it's been so great to watch him enjoy it, and it seems like not take it too seriously, and just kind of give everything he's got, like he says every night when they do the interview. He thanks God, and then he says, I just want to play baseball and work hard and win a World Series," and that's exactly what he does. And it's been great. I can't say anything better about Vladdy than what he's done this year.
there's nothing bad that you can possibly say about this team right now. It's like the only person you could possibly say, if you really wanted to nitpick stuff, but you can't right now, is John Schneider in terms of some decisions that he made over this season.
Mhm.
Run little, but
Yeah.
listen, everyone else, like, I'm gonna say this right now. It doesn't matter if they lose the World Series. It does not matter if they lose the World Series. This team will go down in history for for Canada. Like, it doesn't matter if they lose the World Series, it's gonna suck, right? It's gonna suck. But you're not gonna be disappointed in the fact, like, oh my gosh, we blew it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you are going to be so happy with this team for fighting the way that they've fought and doing everything the right way to get to this point. Like, yeah, this team is gonna go down in Canadian history as just one of the best. Like, it's hard. It's crazy to think about.
Well,
Yeah, you're
you
just
you can
witnessing
you
this.
can look at it on the other side, and like you can't really nitpick the Jays. You can definitely nitpick some of the Dodgers play. I mean, I'm gonna call out a guy like Mookie Betts. He's had a really
Yeah,
tough
he's
postseason
terrible.
so far. 3 for 23 in this series, 9 hits in 55 at bats since the wild card series. That's a guy who, he's basically was cemented as your second guy in the lineup, and he got moved down in the batting order for yesterday's game, and it's been the lowest he's hit in like 4 years in the MLB is from what I saw. So he's having a tough day. He said yesterday, "I've just been terrible." Like, he called himself out. You're hoping that Jays can continue to neutralize something like that. And Blake Snell, will probably not see him again unless it gets to 7, and maybe again like Yesavage, he has to pitch out of the pen. But he had a really funny post game where he talked for a few minutes and he was like, "Yeah, I'm not a guy to make excuses, but yeah, that pitch was lucky. And oh, yeah, no, that one pitch, like Vlad just was able to get it really on." He gave like 4 excuses as to
Yeah,
why
he
didn't take
said
any
that the
accountability.
Blue Jays lineup didn't beat him. They just got lucky.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like, "All right, brother, you gave up 5 runs, so, like, regardless of however many of them you actually pitched to, you gave up 5 earned. I'm pretty sure anything above, like, 2 is some accountability has to be taken. You're the only guy to give up back-to-back, like, hits to start or home runs to start a World Series. Maybe some of that's on you. But, like, look, the Jays have taken advantage of some of the Dodgers' inconsistencies, and they've made them look human, which I think not a lot of teams have ever been able to do. Is you've made a team look human, and now this whole conversation about complaining because they have the highest payroll, yeah, you can't really use that excuse anymore. Even if the Dodgers do win in 7, the Jays have been able to neutralize a lot of their big guns in ways that other teams haven't, i.e., the Milwaukee Brewers, who had the best regular season MLB record this year and weren't able to get a win. So it's just been spectacular how from 1 through 9, and even the guys on the bench have just been able to sort of neutralize some of the guys that have had a lot of postseason success and just don't look like it this in this World Series.
Yep. Like, I think we should just tee up game 6 because
I
yeah,
think I think that's fair.
it's gonna be a cinema down there in Toronto. on Friday night and even possibly Saturday night, depending on what happens on Friday night. But just like it's gonna be crazy to even think about the fact that they're gonna go out and take the field on Friday night with the possibility of winning a World Series. That's just
Well, can I tell
yeah.
you guys something? But before you jump in there, Brandon, I have 2 tickets to the game tomorrow, boys, because I'll be
Let's
in the
go,
audience.
Mando.
Oh wow.
That's
Uh,
great, man.
yeah,
That's
was able to
awesome.
get in. I tried to get in for Game 6 originally on Ticketmaster. There was 100,000 people in front of me. My girlfriend Olivia was able to she was like, let me just try, and logged on and had like 1,500 in front. We just tried for Game 6 because we knew the first two would be crazy. And I was like, please, just let's lock 2 in. So 500 each. I'll just be honest. We got them as they were. They're going for an insane
That's
amount now.
That's
that's
Yeah.
great, bro.
incredible.
Yeah.
So I didn't think we'd get to this point, but I'm going to try and report the atmosphere next week, regardless of what happens, because I can imagine it's going to be an
No, it's gonna be
insane game
insane.
regardless.
Insane.
So I'll have some live updates on
Insane.
how the crowd is
I
going in there.
I know some people from back home, um, they're going up for game 6, from Nova
Nice.
Scotia,
That's awesome.
and I know for a fact if it goes game 7, he's staying game 7. He's
Find a
like,
way.
there's no way that I'm missing game 7, like,
Yeah.
if it happens. It's a once in a lifetime thing, man. If you're gonna spend the money, you might as well spend it on something that you love and you wanna see, and sports is something that everyone loves. Listen, game 6 is like the atmosphere in the building is going to be insane. LA does not have the same atmosphere as what Toronto does. Everyone's standing on their feet. I noticed in LA, no one is standing on their
Mhm.
feet unless it's like a massive play happens. But even like in the little like just like getting a strike is like a massive thing in Toronto. Like everyone's on their feet cheering and everything. The atmosphere will be magical. The pitching matchup between Yamamoto and Gosman is just like Gosman better bring it. That's all you can hope for is Gosman better bring it because you know Yamamoto's bringing it on the other side, and Gosman just has to. I wouldn't say he has to outduel Yamamoto. I just think he has to keep them in striking distance against Yamamoto. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. I can't believe it's happening on Halloween as well. It's gonna be
Yeah.
crazy. But yeah,
I'm
like
curious to see I'm curious to see how long of a leash Yamamoto has. You know what I mean? Like I wonder if obviously if he pitches the way he's done in his last 2 starts, like I wonder if there's even a thought to just let him ride till the end of the game.
I would
3 in a row
say
would be crazy, but we've seen 2 already.
yeah, well, I would say yes. Like he's gonna have a very long leash because obviously, as we saw in Game 5, Dave Roberts does not trust the bullpen at all. If he did, he would have took Snell out before he reached 120
Yeah.
pitches on the evening. In the 7th inning. So yeah, I think the leash on Yamamoto, like he knows if he's going to win, it has to come from the starting pitching, and they have to ride those guys because they have the upper advantage in starting pitching. They have aces all across the board. But you know, like it's gonna come down to whether or not he's comfortable going to that bullpen because,
Mhm.
like you saw last night, they didn't come through for him. They gave him a couple extra runs, and yeah, it's like you're just asking about I think the leash on Yamamoto is as long as it could possibly ever be in his entire career. Like I think he
Mhm.
could very well go pitch 9 innings, and Dave Roberts would be very much okay with that because he does not want to go to that bullpen.
I mean, I can't disagree. I mean, I think when it comes to Dave Roberts and what he's going to have to do in this game 6, it's going to come down to situational baseball, obviously. But if the Dodgers, hypothetically, if they never trail in this game, Yamamoto's going to go as long as he can because
Yep.
he, like Justin said, I wouldn't say he obviously doesn't trust the bullpen, that's for sure, but Yamamoto's probably their most trusted guy right now. So
Yeah.
they're just going to let him go. And as long as they're not in a dire situation, I think, they'll have like a number maybe in terms of how much they want to get, they can allow to get down or whatever. They'll figure it out in their preparation. But it's not going to surprise me at all if we see Yamamoto go, 7, 8, 9 innings. Like, as long as they need
Snow
exactly.
went
I think,
7 last night. Like, you
yeah,
know what I mean? Like,
it's
Snow went
no,
7.
it's no doubt that they're going to lean on this guy to basically save their season. And I think he's one of the few guys I think that you would trust to do it. And I think it's going to be an incredible matchup because on the other side, like you said, Justin, Kevin Gosman's going to have to at least keep the Jays around, right? Because like we
Yeah,
said,
and
if
I I'm gonna be very curious in the sense of, like, what Gosman's leash is, because I'm wondering, like, are you gonna try to ride Gosman out as long as possible if you're trailing because, you know that the game 7's coming and you wanna have everyone available at their best ability, you do not wanna, like, use up the bullpen in any manner. Like, is it a tight, like, I'm gonna be so curious if it's a tight game, like, are they gonna commit to just, "Okay, where everything's in tonight, and we're gonna go try and win this thing, and screw it, we'll figure it out tomorrow when it happens." Like, that's something that I'm sure Pete Walker, David or John Schneider, Don Mattingly, every single David Hawkins, like all of them are going to be discussing for the next 36 hours. Basically, is um, what happens in this situation? What happens here? What happens when we're down by 1 in the 6th inning? Do we keep Gosman in? Like, you know what I mean? Like all these situations, like even do you pitch Bieber in game 6? Like, you know what I mean? In the bullpen, do you get him in the bullpen for game 6 and say, we're trying to win this right now? Like, you know what I mean? Like everything has to be on the table in terms of decisions to be made. It's going to be very interesting though to see what happens.
I would say Gosman is probably going to get a longer leash in the sense that like he's not going to go game 7, right? Like that's
There's no, yeah, yeah.
the one guy you can't basically use. Everyone else should be on the table. We've seen Louis Varland go an insane amount of games pitching, so like they're not afraid to use a guy like him. So I think ultimately he's gonna have as long as leash as possible, even if it's a tight matchup. Because ultimately, this is the last time you're going to get Gosman's arm. You might as well see what he has, and he's obviously going to want to be out there for as long as possible. And because Game 7 is imminent, yeah, you have some guys in the bullpen that could probably go. And you know what? This day off is probably going to be very helpful for a lot of them. Like it's going to be key. At the end of the day, though, I think Gosman's the one guy that's going to get a longer leash. Everything else is on the table because there's 2 possible games left. There's literally no other games to worry about than these 2. So he's got it. John Schneider, like you said, he's probably walking around asking every guy, like, what is your situation? Can you go 2 in a row? Like
Can
instead of
you?
Gosman, outside of Gosman, can we have your arm twice if needed? And he'll assess how to play it out from
I'm
there.
sure even Gosman for game
I do.
7 will be like,
I
if
don't
you
know,
need a
man.
batter out of me, if you need a batter, I'm sure it will
Yeah.
be like, I'm
Yeah.
sure like it could possibly be that way.
Yeah, and I do agree that I think Gosman hypothetically should have a longer leash, but also it comes down to the fact that there are question marks around what the Jays would do in a game 7.
Yeah.
I'm of the belief that they should try to, if Shane Bieber's healthy enough to start a game 7, I think that's the guy you go with.
Yeah.
But
Big time.
I don't think there's a bad option in terms of maybe Max Scherzer, who's lined up in that scenario. He gets, to go with a real short leash, and then you kind of figure it out from there, kind of what you alluded to, Alex. But I'm really excited to see what they decide to do, if it does get to a game 7. But that we're gonna probably find out in a game 6 situation. If they're really
Yeah.
pushing Gosman, if he gets hit a little bit and they're letting him continue to play out, it's probably because they're just gonna want to save as many guys as they can for a game 7 situation. But I think again, similar to what the Dodgers are probably going to do, it's probably more about what the situation is. How much are we down? How much are we up? How much can we afford to give up in order to preserve a little bit more. So it's going to be one of those things where both teams are going to have to kind of take some risks potentially, and are going to have to do what they think is best. And for the Jays, that might mean push for game 6 and try to win that game, no matter what, because you don't
Yeah,
necessarily want to go into a game 7, where anything can
anything can
happen,
happen.
and just
Anything can
and you don't maybe feel as good about the plan that you would have going into that game as you would going into this game. So I think
Yeah.
it's
I
possible they put all their chips in.
I would say like game 6, like if obviously best outcome is like they win the World Series, obviously. But second best outcome is like Gosman pitches a long game. You don't use up the bullpen that much, and then on the other side, you get to Yamamoto and you go into the bullpen, and they got to scratch and crawl to win the game. Even if they do win the game, they've used up a lot of their arms that are going to pitch tomorrow in Game 7. Like that's the second best scenario for the Blue Jays going into Game 7 if it gets that far. But yeah, for Game 6, I don't think anything's going to change in terms of offense. Like they know what they're looking for in terms of Yamamoto. Like it's going to be the same stuff. They're not going to change their approach against him, I don't think. I think they're just going to have a better idea, or hopefully a better idea, of what they're going to be seeing from him in terms of the release. Because I know that the release was a big talking point last time with him. It's nasty stuff. It's just nasty stuff. Like just downright nasty. But like, yes, it's going to be interesting to see what the game plan is in terms of, hey, we're in the 5th inning, we're up by 2. Let's just say, do we put Miles Straw in the game for defensive purposes? Like when are all these winning tactics gonna take place, or are you just gonna try to ride it out and win Game 6 with the guys that you think are gonna be the good? We'll see.
I'm just excited to see that. I think we're going to see a dog in Kevin Gosman go out there, because I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure you guys have seen that photo of him looking at the championships in the hallway, looking to add another one. Like it really is like poetry that this guy's going to get a chance to go out there and try to win a title for this team, and like it's just going to be incredible stuff. And I think you'll see one way or another a ton of emotion in the building, and from the players and from the
Yeah.
fans, of course. So it's gonna be quite the sight. Like I cannot wait to see how it all plays out.
I
Yeah,
already got
could not
asked
be
to
more
work.
excited.
I wasn't supposed to work Friday. I already got asked to work Friday. So, everything's like, I'm sure like it's going to be all hands on deck across this whole entire country in terms of coverage, and just it's like it's hard because I it might it's recency bias, whatever. I just think this run is a lot bigger than the Raptors run in terms of the country. And the people behind, like, there's a lot more Jays fans than what there are Raptors fans across Canada, in my opinion. And I think that this run is bigger in terms of like seeing media coverage and everything being funneled, like all the Blue Jays coverage and everything like that. I just think that tomorrow night is going to be one of the biggest nights in Canadian sports history. And if it's not tomorrow night, Saturday night becomes the biggest night in Canadian sports history with a Game 7 to win the World Series.
Yeah,
Insane.
I think that's yeah.
Well, I mean, I'll take. I mean, I'm not going to say that it's not bigger than. I don't know that it's not bigger than the Raptors run. I think that there's a lot of different things that go into those two runs, because you're talking about the Raptors. The city of Toronto hadn't won a championship in the major four sports in a while.
Yeah.
And you basically hadn't had that opportunity to go crazy, especially once the Raptors got to the finals, facing a global team like the Golden State Warriors. I think there was an incredible amount of hype, but I don't know how you even quantify which would have been bigger, or which was. But I definitely agree that that this feels like it's got a lot more weight than just what's happening this year. It feels like the whole country is coming together and are celebrating this team and are excited to see what they do. And it will be an absolute like just crazy mess if they do pull this off this weekend and figure it out. I just can't wait to see how it goes. But I wouldn't say it's the biggest Canadian sports moment in history even if they do win. I think there's some other moments that might take
Yes,
it.
like
Obviously,
the gold
in this
medal, or
generation,
yeah.
maybe yes, in like
Gold
the
But
medal,
last
yeah.
10 years or something. But yeah, like I would say, it's going to be regardless. It's a huge moment, and it doesn't really matter where it fits in the
Yeah,
upper echelon. It's just going to be incredible. And when you're in it, it always feels like the biggest thing that's ever happening. And that's where we're at right now, and that's why it's so great.
yeah,
I
yeah.
think I have one last thing to just mention before we're probably wrapping it up here is
Yep.
George Springer, Game 6. You think he's playing or
Mhm.
not?
I have
Go ahead,
I
no
think he
Alex.
idea.
is. I
No,
think
no,
he
I have
is.
no idea. I mean, like, he didn't play. I mean, we would have loved to see him play, obviously, last night. Obviously, it didn't matter at the end of the day.
He was going into the game, though. He was going
I
into
It's
the
a
don't
game.
pivotal. Go
I
ahead,
don't
Brandon.
really get. I know what Alex or Justin, what you're saying. Like he was ready to pinch hit, and he probably would have played whatever
No, not
position
pinch hit. Not pinch hit.
or
Pinch run.
whatever. Yeah, sorry. He was going to go in, but I don't understand that. And actually, it leads me to believe that if he wasn't going to pinch hit, if he was just going to go into run, that he's probably not ready to hit, and that's why I'm probably thinking I don't think we'll see him in game 6, but I think we could see him in game 7 because of the way they've got this now. If the Dodgers had won last night and it's maybe do or die for the Jays in game 6,
Yeah, he
maybe you see
probably
Springer in
play.
there and he's just trying to gut it out and they say, hey, if you want to go, you go. But I think in a game 6 situation, they're going to try to give him one more day. Maybe he does come in some capacity, but
Maybe.
I could be wrong. I have nobody seems to know really what the status of his injury is. So it's going to be one of those things where maybe they
He's
do
trying.
surprise and show up.
He's trying.
Oh, of course. I'm not. He's gonna want to play, and he might tell them I can play, but they're gonna have to. They're gonna have to be, do what's best for the team, right? If he's still compromised in some way, it's like you can't really put him out there, and maybe that's the same if even with the extra day of rest. If he, game 7, he tries to give it his all, and he still can't, give the team what they need to hope that they can win a game. So it's gonna come down to the wire, and yeah, I mean, but the pop in the stadium, Alex, if you're there and they announce George Springer's in the starting lineup, it's going to be incredible. And I would give him all
Standing
the
out.
credit in the world. Yeah, I'd give him all the credit in the world if he does find a way to play because it definitely looked like he wasn't in the best of health when he left. What was it, game 3? I think maybe
Game 3.
4.
Yeah,
game 3.
yeah.
Game 3.
And I mean, he's been such a force for the team all year, but he's just taken such a beating, like physically in the playoffs compared to a lot of the other guys here.
I thought his kneecap exploded at one
Oh
point.
my God. The fact that he played after that, right, was fantastic. So he's obviously a dog in that mentality, and maybe he doesn't start in game 6.
Player.
Yeah, it's true. So was Ernie Clement, and look at what he's doing.
Yeah.
So no, but it's crazy to see that he was able to even play after that. Like I think he probably doesn't get to start. I don't think he leads off in game 6, but maybe he gets a pinch hit late in the game depending on the situation. But we'll see, and we'll see the reaction of fans either way, but it'll be fun to watch. But all that to say, do we want to do a quick prediction for 6, or do we assume it's
Yeah, I'm
Jays?
down.
I don't know.
I'm down to try.
Yeah, what do you think?
I don't want to
Brandon, go.
predict anything. I don't want to.
Well, I won't predict, but I'll give you guys my thoughts on what I think
Sure.
could happen. At least, like
Sure.
I totally expect the Jays to still play well. I just don't. I am worried about Yamamoto, of course. I expect him to pitch very well. I expect this. I think Gosman's going to pitch well too. I think Game 6 is going to go down to the wire. Absolutely. I think we're looking at like a 1-1 or a 2-1 score going into like the 8th or 9th inning, and whether it's one way or maybe it is, and whether it's one way or another, like maybe we could be looking at another Joe Carter situation here, and yeah, I don't have a real good feeling on who's going to win the team, but
chills with that.
it's going to be incredible, man, and we're all going to have chills when whoever steps to the plate, and if he's got a chance to win the game, or if it's Kevin Gosman going deep into a game, or Jeff Hoffman coming on to close a game, it's going to be just incredible theater, and it's something that this generation of people in our country have never seen, because it's been a long time since they've seen important baseball. And I'm sure a lot of people 30 years ago, if they were, around, they probably didn't really care as much about the Jays, because it's become such an incredible, cultural phenomenon in our country. And I think every summer people love to see them go out and play. And it's just going to be an incredible finish to a great season if they are able to put it away in one of these 2 games.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's leave it at that. That's a good call.
I'm not giving a prediction.
That's fine. Prediction is it's going to be fun baseball.
All I will say is Yamamoto is going to deal. I know that. That's
it's going to be a hard
game. What they do
game
against him, I have no idea. I just know that he's going to be he's the Dodgers' best opportunity. Like, that is their guy.
Definitely.
And that's why he's on the mound. So we'll obviously report back next week. Regardless of what happens, we'll have an answer. Along with some other sports stories, it's been awesome to cover the World Series. We'll finally have a chance to sort of go into some more storylines next week for all the other sports leagues. But it's been awesome being a Toronto sports fan, especially at this time, and being able to cover it. Brandon, and you guys both have the Jays hats. You came prepared. I got them in spirit. So let's rock and roll. I'll report back on how Game 6 plays out in person.
Please, yeah,
Yeah.
please.
Other than
Enjoy.
that, boys, thank you.
Yeah, enjoy it. That's gonna be a
Thank you,
once
thank
in a
you.
lifetime atmosphere.
Insane. So we'll leave it at that. We'll have some fun this weekend. We hope everyone gets a chance to watch and enjoy whatever team you're cheering for. Hopefully it is Toronto. But other than that, we will catch you guys next week.